Hello everyone, I am Anil Bharate, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, BLDS CET, Vijaypur. In this video, I am going to explain experiment number 3 for C Programming Lab prescribed in video syllabus for first year students. Before we go to the program, let us try to understand what is quadratic equation and what is its general form and how roots of it are calculated. To start with its general form, the general form of quadratic equation is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Now in this equation, if value of a is equal to 0, then ax square will be 0. Then remaining equation will be only bx plus c is equal to 0, which is not quadratic equation. Therefore, in quadratic equation it is important that value of a should not be equal to 0. Okay. Once we are done with checking this condition, now let us try to find what is the procedure to calculate roots of quadratic equation. First we should calculate d, whose formula is b square minus 4ac. d is equal to b square minus 4ac. Now this can be written in C as d is equal to b star b minus 4 star a star c, which is nothing but again d is equal to b square minus 4ac. Now depending on value of d, there are three different cases. That is case number 1, if value of d is greater than 0, case number 2, if value of d is equal to 0, and what if value of d is less than 0. Now let us consider one by one. In case 1, value of d will be greater than 0. If value of d is greater than 0, then roots will be real and distinct, and this message has to be displayed. After displaying this message, we should calculate what is R1 and what is R2. I have mentioned formula for R1 here. It is minus b plus square root of d whole divided by 2a, and formula for R2 is minus b minus square root of d whole divided by 2a. That is the first case. Say if value of d is equal to 0. Now in that case, roots will be real and equal. And formula to calculate R1 is equal to minus b divided by 2a. And formula for R2 will be, again it is same as that of R1. So we have written it as R2 is equal to R1, because roots are real and equal. Now in the third case, value of d will be negative or it is less than 0. In this case, we will get roots as imaginary roots. Now the formula for calculating R1 will be minus b divided by 2a, and to calculate formula to calculate R2 is square root of d divided by 2a, and here abs is nothing but absolute value of d we are considering. Now one more concept to understand before the program is else if ladder, because this statement is used in our program. Now let us see how it works. If you observe, we have written as if condition 1. Then say if this condition 1 is true, then block 1 is executed, whereas all remaining blocks will be skipped. Now the use of else if ladder is, if there are many options and we want to choose only one among those, then we go for else if ladder. Now in this case, if condition 1 is true, block 1 is executed and all remaining blocks are skipped. Say for example, if condition 1 is false, if this condition 1 itself is false, then control will go to check the condition 2, because next condition is condition number 2. Now if condition 2 is true, then block 2 is executed and all remaining blocks are skipped. For example, if condition 2 is false, then subsequently it go on checking the conditions. Say we have condition number n. If this condition n is true, then block n will be executed and as usual remaining blocks will be skipped. Say for example, if all condition, that is condition 1, condition 2, condition 3 and so on up to condition n, they are all false. If all conditions are false, then by default else block will be executed, that is this default block will be executed. I repeat here, if condition 1 is true, then block 1 is executed and remaining blocks such as block 2, block 3 up to block n and default block, they will be skipped. If condition 1 is false, then it will go to check the condition number 2. If condition 2 is true, then block 2 is executed, and if and so on. So next let us see what is the program for this. Now to start with, you are familiar with the first statement, that is hash include stdio.h. But there is one more thing, or one more header file that we have added here is math.h. Now because we are going to use square root function sqrt, therefore we are using math.h. Now going to the main, we have 6 variables written, which are a, b, c, d, r1 and r2, and data type for all variables is float. First statement is enter the coefficients a, b, c of quadratic equation, and let us assume that we are entering some integers or floating point numbers, and first floating point number that we enter will be stored inside a, and next integer or next floating point number is stored in b, and next in c. So as we have discussed earlier, value of a should not be equal to 0 in quadratic equation. So first we will check that condition. If a is not equal to 0, if this condition is true, then only we perform all the operations, or we find the roots of quadratic equation and so on. But if this condition itself is false, then there is no point in calculating roots, because that equation itself is not quadratic equation. So let us say that this condition is true as of now. A is not equal to 0 is true. Then we print a message called as given coefficients form a quadratic equation. Then after we will calculate value of d. D is equal to b square minus 4ac. Now let us go to the next slide, which is continued part of this program. Now we were talking about those three cases. Already we have calculated value of d in this program. Now we should see what are those three cases. As usual, the first case that we were discussing about is if d greater than 0. Then as I mentioned earlier, see, roots are real and distinct. This message has to be displayed on screen, and formula for r1 and r2 is written over here. Then we should display the results, that is root 1 is equal to percentage of root 2 is equal to percentage of r1 and r2. So first percentage of corresponds to this r1, second percentage of corresponds to r2. Now if this case is false, that is if value of d is not greater than 0, then control will go to check second condition. In this second condition is d equal to 0. If d is equal to 0, then roots are real and equal. Therefore we print this message and we find r1 and r2 by using the formula that we have already discussed, and here we will display the results. Now say d is not greater than 0 and d is also not equal to 0, then obviously it must be less than 0. That is why we have considered else prod, that is d value is less than 0, that is the default case. Now if d is not greater than 0, if d is not equal to 0, then d must be less than 0, and in this case roots will be imaginary. This message has to be displayed on screen. Then formula to calculate r1 is written over here, and formula to calculate r2 is also written. After calculating r1 and r2, we should display the values of r1 and r2 in imaginary form. That's why we have written like percentage f plus I percentage f. It is nothing but r1 plus I r2. It is in this form. And similarly root 2 will be percentage f minus I percentage f. So there are 4 percentage f's. Therefore we have 4 variables like r1, r2, r1 and r2. Now once we are done with all these three cases, next is else, and this else corresponds to, we had written, if you remember, if a is not equal to 0. If this condition is false, then control will directly come to this point and it will display a message called as the given coefficients do not form a quadratic equation. So this is the explanation about the program. Now let us see what will be output of this program. Now output will be, the first statement on screen will be enter the coefficients of quadratic equation, and we have entered 1, 2, 1. Then the output will be the given coefficients form a quadratic equation. Roots are real and equal. Root 1 is equal to minus 1.000000, and similarly root 2 will be equal to minus 1.000000. Thank you.